Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of DroppedMic. It's officially the end of season 1, sadly. My name is Ted. I'm your host every night since episode 1. But tonight, we're going to do things a little differently, right? It's an interesting topic. We're going to be addressing the question of whether or not women really have a type, or do they just... Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But before we even start the show and introduce our panelists, we would like to take this time to thank all of our guests, all the previous panelists who've been on the show. I want to thank them for their time. I want to thank the audience. So let's watch a quick video and then we'll get started.
You see everyone with a mask, you have to have a mask on, so.
Newborn, then that's definitely the time for you to.
amazing. A lot of people. First of all, I want to thank our team. You know, like our production team. Let me get it together. I want to thank our production team, GV, ND, Friday After Friday, right, over the week. You know, those guys are responsible for our Wednesday drop, right? The video that comes out every Wednesday announcing the topic for the week, right? And, you know, all the great content, you know, from the music, you know, to the quality of our set and everything, you know. I want to thank all the team involved in making this show what it is today. So, without any further delay, let's introduce our panelists. First, I have a returning guest, Mr. Max. How's it going, Max?
Doing well, and you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Max. Once again.
Hey, everybody, glad to be back on. Thanks for having me. My name is Max Sejour. I reside outside of the Atlanta, Georgia area, born in Haiti. I do photography, media, social media as well. So I'm a YouTuber recently here. So you can follow me at Majestic Lifestyle Coaching, and that's on any of the platform, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, or my photography page, Max Sejour. That's SEJOURMAX, of course, Max Sejour Photography.
Awesome, Max. Awesome, Max. Thank you very much. And next we have Treasure.
Hi everyone, my name is Treasure Curry. I work as a caregiver to the elderly and for Pure and Joy Blogger on www.treasurecurry.com. My handle is treasure.eachsecond. Find me there.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Treasure. And next we have Kia.
Hi everyone, my name is Kia and I come from the great state of Texas, Grand Prairie specifically. That's right. I would say I love fitness. I love anything health and fitness related. You can always catch me exercising. So if you want to see some snippets of that, check out my handle on IG, which is Curly Key, which is KURLYKI_SLP.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Kia. And last but not least, we have Miss Denise.
Hi everyone, my name is Denise Mutasa. I live also in the great state of Texas. I am a nurse, I'm a youth pastor, and I like taking pictures. And by taking pictures, I like pictures being taken of me. So you can follow me on Instagram at Denise from Africa, and you can find me there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time tonight. So, let us jump right in. So, tonight's topic really asks the question if women really have a type, right? Do women really have a type, or is it just a guy thing? So, the first question I have for you guys is, I guess, Max, I'll start with you, since you're the only guy on the panel tonight. So, I'll start with you, and then we'll go with the ladies. I want to hear what the ladies have to say. So, the question goes, is it true that men are more likely to marry or date a woman that reminds them of their mothers? What do you think, Max?
No, I think, as a matter of fact, I was just having this discussion with my cousin last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I forgot who was it that said that. One of your past guests has talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that you kind of learn to love is
Mm-hmm.
the parent of the opposite sex.
Mm.
So men towards their mother, women
Mm-hmm.
towards their father. You learn to form a connection with that person. You learn love with the way they treat you. You learn
Mm-hmm.
affection and all these different things, even your physical attraction. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
things you get it from that. And so, no, I think it goes for both men and women because the things that oftentimes you hear, you know, sometimes well, people will say when someone has a woman has a lot of issues, they say she has daddy issues, right? Like her dad wasn't there. Well, it goes the same thing for men and women. We both need that in our lives. It teaches us how to love other people, who to seek love from, the type of love we need, and the best person to uh, build a relationship with or get married with. So I think it goes for both sexes.
Okay. So now, there was a research published by the University of Iowa, right? Their science department, they said this is more common amongst men, I guess, amongst high achieving men, right? So typically, if their mothers has a college degree, a master's degree, and things like that, right? They will more than likely marry a woman that is similar in career, education, to their mother. So, where do you think the education part comes into play, or does it really? Is it really any guy? What do you think, Max?
No, all of it forms your train of thought, right? So whatever you used to see in your life, it it doesn't it's not an automatic lock that you're gonna be that, right? So for example, some people were born in the inner city, in the hood, as they
Yeah.
say, right? And out of nowhere, they transformed their lives. Like for example, the story of the three doctors, right? Three brothers that got together. They said, "We're gonna make it out of here." They pushed, became doctors. So it's not
Yeah.
necessarily that where you come from shapes your future, but oftentimes that standard is a baseline for you to it sets it pretty much sets up who you become. So oftentimes when you see your parents are doctors, right, or the parent of the opposite sex is a very successful doctor, lawyer, nurse, whatever they are, that business owner, you tend to want to emulate that or find that in a partner as well. So yes, that does set a kind of level playing field for you to build on.
Okay. Okay. So, Treasure, a question for you though. Do you think parental or family pressure plays a role in, the guy choosing the woman he's gonna end up spending the rest of his life with? Do you think it comes from, their family saying, well, your mom has a master's degree. You're not about to bring a woman with no college degree in this house. Like, do you think that's what pushes them to seek someone that's similar to their mother?
I feel like it depends on what kind of guy you're talking about. If it's an
Mm.
independent man that has his
Mm-hmm.
mind made up, even though he'll listen to his mom, is like, "Hey, mom, I respect your opinion, but it's my choice."
Mm-hmm.
I believe he will have a standard in what he wants according to
Yeah.
how his parents, how hard they have achieved. But I just, I almost don't want to believe that. I guess it depends what kind of man that you're talking about. If he's the one like, "Hey, mom, I need your opinion," or "I won't make that choice." I've seen
Mm-hmm.
situations where if the mom didn't approve, the husband was like, "Nope, I'm not doing it. I have to let you go. I can't even pursue the relationship." So
Yeah.
it just depends what kind of guy, independent or highly
Aren't
influential
those called
or
mama's
influential.
boys? Aren't those mama's boys?
You said what?
I personally don't have brothers like that. So
Mm-hmm.
my brothers made up their mind what they want, and they listened to mom, but it was just what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, here, what do you think? Talk to me.
I kind of have to agree along with Treasure. I think subconsciously, and also with what Max is saying, I think subconsciously a man kind of has um, an idea of the kind of woman that he wants to pursue. So if he does see
Mm-hmm.
her and his father, they are successful in whatever way that may be, they're also going to
Mm-hmm.
look for a woman that is like-minded as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes success doesn't necessarily have to be a 9 to 5. So if that woman is choosing entrepreneurship as
Yeah.
her way of making money, she's still as equally as successful as another woman that's doing a 9 to 5. So I think you can both be successful, just kind of just depending on your perspective of it.
Okay. Okay. So, Denise, I have a question for you. So, a father is usually a girl's first love, right? That's what they say. Kind of like what Max just said. The children usually gravitate towards the parents. I mean, the parent of the opposite sex, right? That's usually their first love. So, along those lines, do you think that the same goes for women? They will typically gravitate toward a guy that reminds them of their father.
I think it depends on the relationship you've had with your father.
Mm.
Not unfortunately, not everyone has a positive have positive experiences with their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why we have that saying like daddy issues,
Yeah.
because I've experienced, like, even with among my own friends, the conversations that we've had is, a lot of the difficulties and some of like the early relationships we've had
Mm-hmm.
came from kind of like just kind of the dysfunction or the unresolved issues that we may have had with our own fathers.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you may come into a relationship expecting certain things from someone that truthfully those were things that should have been resolved in your childhood with your biological father,
Mm-hmm.
or through counseling or something of that nature. And it truly takes, I think, kind of like a journey, counseling, therapy, in which you're able to recognize and be like, okay, these are unhealthy kind of traits to be expecting from somebody's son.
Mm.
It's better than to, kind of look inwardly and see, maybe there are some things I have to work on before I start, expecting that from another young man. Because I mean, daddy issues isn't just, affecting girls, it affects guys too. So
Yeah.
they have their own things that they're also facing themselves. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So you mentioned that it depends on the relationship, right? So there's this popular blog on the internet. She Knows. That's the name of the blog. Um, so their argument was that some women, you know, despite of their relationships with their dads, right? Even if the relationship itself was a rocky one, they will typically gravitate towards a man that reminds them of their father because that was number one, their first love, and number two, they want to try and do better, right? They want to try and change that man. So I want to hear from the ladies first. Do you ladies agree? And then I'll hear from you, Max. So, Kia, you can start, and then I'll hear from the other ladies.
I was kind of confused. So towards the end, you said change the man?
So that's what they said on the blog. Like the ladies, they gravitate towards a guy that reminds them of their father, even if they had a
Okay.
bad relationship with the dad, because they think they
Oh,
can
okay.
change the man. You know what I mean? So what do you think?
Oh, well, yeah, we know that doesn't work. No, 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 no. Yes, that's
So
definitely
what
an erroneous
exactly
way of
doesn't work?
trying to change a man, trying to change a person. Like, don't be with, trying to change them. Basically, at the core of who they are, if you don't like who they are at the core, no one should be a project for you.
I
You
see.
accept the person as is. Of course, we all want to continue to grow in our character and have better character development. But at the core, kind of what Denise was saying, if you feel like the person that you're with reminds you of that negative relationship with your father, you need to work on yourself first and figure out what you have going on before you even try to jump into a relationship with someone else, because that is going to have a direct effect on your relationship if you haven't dealt with your own personal issues.
Interesting. What do you think, Treasure?
So when I was young, my relationship with my father wasn't the best, and I remember he would tell me, "One day you're gonna meet a man. He's gonna be just like me." And I'm just like, I don't want nobody like you. But over the years, we worked on our relationship, and I wasn't really looking for someone like my father. I was
Yeah.
writing down a list of what I thought were characteristics of God, really, like kind, loving, slow to anger. I wanted like a hands-on kind of guy that would fix things around the house, and like
Yeah.
I asked God for what I wanted, but I really wasn't like I want someone like my dad. I think the only thing that was important to me was deep conversation. My dad and I could talk for hours,
Yeah.
hours about deep conversations, and maybe talk about 10 different topics and still stay. He wouldn't be confused or overwhelmed by me. And with my mate, I have that same kind of conversation back and forth, like, hey, it's been about 4 hours. You get off the phone now. We have that. But I wasn't like just like daddy kind of thing. It just, you know, just who I am. I wanted someone I could connect with and
Yeah.
be real with.
So would you say that subconsciously you were looking for your dad?
I can't have someone like my dad because I love my dad, but he's kind of like, he's too much like me. Like, we're too alike, and I need someone a little bit different.
Yeah.
A little bit. So,
Okay. Okay. So what do you think, Denise?
I think, I guess back to like the question, the whole fixing somebody. I've just learned that you can't build a man. Let God build a man.
Right.
Mercy.
You
Mercy.
can't build a man. You have to truly, like, I think this is how, I mean, for me, I grew up in church, so, and I have a relationship with God, and as I'm growing in my relationship with the Lord, I'm realizing that you truly have to surrender everything, even the desires of your heart. If you desire to be in a relationship with someone, you surrender that to Him as well. And you don't have to force it. Like, truly, I mean, you hear the blessing of like Treasure's, you know, testimony, people as well who are married and enjoying, you know, marriage, and even people who are enjoying singleness too, that when God is in it, like, there's a blessing in it. So why try and build somebody? You know, if it's not the right time, trust God's timing, and if it's the right person, then it'll happen.
That's really good. That's really good. So, Max, I'll hear from you before I move to the next question. So, what do you have to add to that, Max?
I hear a lot of good question answers, and they're the right answers. Don't get me wrong. So everything like you said were on point, but let's get back to reality, right? So I'm looking at three good, wholesome Christian ladies right now, right, with the right answer. So that's perfect. But here's the reality: a lot of women love. No, I don't think they do it. I don't think they do it consciously, but a lot of women take on projects all the
Ooh,
time. A lot
mercy.
of
They
women
do.
will see a project and like,
See a project.
I can change that man. I will change that man. And they go to work day and night and they fight and they fight and they fight and they fight and fight and they fight until they can't fight
hold
to
on.
no more. So
Let me
that
just
happens
say
all the
this.
time. Yeah, treasure.
Yeah, go ahead, Treasure. She's
I know
not
we're
happy.
being really stiff. We're getting really stiff right now, so I want to unloose and just say maybe we're not maybe we're not aware that we're taking on a project. Because I've met someone before
Yeah.
at college. It was a long project. I didn't even know I was in a project. It was just so long and extensive, and I was like, why am I in this thing? Like, I took on some big mission of like, you have issues, let me help you. You know, I have all these
Right.
resources, let me help you. But I wasn't thinking like, oh, let me find someone that's a hot mess. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't looking for that.
Right.
But then I realized
Well,
it was going on longer than it needed to. I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be in this thing. You know what I mean?
well,
Like,
women are naturally nurturers, right?
Yeah.
So women love to fix things and make it all
Mercy.
right, right? In a different way, because guys want to fix it now, women want to fix it in like long term, right? And so yes, at that situation, you probably didn't consciously do it, but I'm a very observant person. I've seen a lot of couples, I've seen a lot of people go after projects because there's one shiny thing in the middle of that project, and they're like, yes, I could see the potential, and they go for it hard. So, but then again, when I've seen as women get older, right, they start to mature spiritually and on different levels, and they're like, yeah, no more projects for me. I'm done with that.
Preach.
So,
Preach.
Yeah.
but Max, you said something, Max. You know, that's very interesting. So what I've well, let me not say what I have. We have to keep this neutral. So, it's been widely discussed that as women age, right, they start removing items from their list of requirements, right? So they while they're young, they're focused on their education, right? They got to get that bachelor's degree, they got to get that master's degree, they got to get that doctorate's degree, right? Postdoc, everything. So by the time they're done, right, They feel like they're running out of time. Well, now I'm just going fishing. You know what I mean? They grab whatever comes. So, what what do you ladies think about that? This is not coming from me, by the way. Please.
No.
What do you ladies think
I mean,
about that?
I mean, for me, I'm still young. I'm still a baby, okay? I'm
Mm-hmm.
23 and
Oh,
I am educated and I'm still pursuing things. I still have,
Mm-hmm.
goals and aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not in a place where I could say I'm gonna just start fishing aimlessly because, I know where I'm going. I know that there are plans that God has for my life. So
Yeah.
I need someone who's running with me, running with me spiritually, and
Yeah.
mentally, focused and driven. So I don't have time to just be like, oh, let's go fishing. I'm focused. I have things that I'm taking care of. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to add to that?
I think
Oh yeah,
as
go ahead, Kim.
as women get older, and I could say maybe I'm one of those women that get that's getting older, even though I don't want to admit it. Um, but I mean, I am in a relationship, but I am on the
Mm-hmm.
older side, I should
Yeah.
say. And like I'll talk to some of my older friends who are in their 40s, and
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of have to agree somewhat that what they probably maybe had written down in their 20s, their 30s, that list has shrunk
Mm-hmm.
over the years. But I think the foundational things are there
Mm.
that they're not going to give up.
Okay.
So, like, superficial stuff, like I do prefer someone who's height wise, or I would prefer
Mm-hmm.
someone who works out, that type
Yeah.
of thing. But I think the foundational things are still, or should, I would hope, would still be in place for
Mm.
those women.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Max?
Um, so I don't think I've never seen women, for the most part, go fishing when they're at a later age. The woman that goes fishing
Mm-hmm.
often, that happens from a young age, and that's just you know
Mm.
that's just a whole different story. We're talking about the issues and everything like that.
Yeah.
But when a woman has it more together, if she's done
Mm-hmm.
her studies and all these things, yes, like Kia said, she's 100% correct. They have to start taking some things off. He doesn't have to be
Mm-hmm.
6'2" anymore, right? He doesn't have to have 7 BMWs. Maybe just, you know what I'm saying? He's got to be a man of God, right? I got to
Mm-hmm.
see him in church, being some ministry, right? So I think they start to get rid of more superficial things,
Yeah.
especially if they have a spiritual base or maturity based. They just find things that are more grounded, right? So they might say, okay, he doesn't have 7 degrees, but is he solid on his plan of whatever he's working on? Is he
Right.
really focused,
Right.
or is he
Mm-hmm.
all over the place? So yeah, it starts to
Right.
get really more defined.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, so as they age, right? Like you guys said, I know Kia, you've mentioned that at the core, they still want certain things that they initially wanted, right? But then they start removing some of the things that they felt were unnecessary or really unrealistic, or I guess not really important. Would you say that women really don't have a type?
From my experience, man,
Mm.
and just seeing
Jealous.
my friends, I feel like women are equal opportunity people. Like
Mm.
we probably give opportunities to men.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, that we probably would not have, based on our superficial standpoint. But then, kind of as we get older, we kind of just view everybody. As
Yeah.
opposed, I'm serious, even as men get older, they
Mm-hmm.
still have their type. And they're really not, to my, again, it's just my small group of guy friends that I know. They're not
Yeah.
going to deviate from that. They're
Really.
going to be settled and firm on that until they find that particular person. So if it doesn't work out with this person, they're going to continue to find the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Except for my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends, they're like, well, he's maybe not that attractive, but he's a nice guy. He has a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
job, et cetera, et cetera. I'll give him a try. Even though it might not be her
Mm.
initial response was like, yeah, I would want to date him.
Interesting.
Wait a second. So I want to hear this clear answer, Kia. You said women don't have a type, or they do.
I
I know
would
it's complicated.
say, okay, I would say initially, I would
Mm-hmm.
say subconsciously, initially, yes, you do have a type. but I would say that type kind of waters down maybe a little bit as you get older because we're not as astringent as men. You know what I'm saying? So men are very physical. Yes, men are very physical. So they like what they like, and they're going to typically go after that. Women, like, we have a type, but if they have maybe, if we have a list, so if they have maybe 7 out of 10 of those character qualities on that list, we'll pursue them. Versus I think men, they need to have 10 out of 10. Otherwise, we're going to the next woman. And that's it.
Wow,
Wow. Interesting.
that's funny.
So, Treasure, what do you think about that?
I agree with Kia to the max
Yeah.
because I had the whole. I'm 5'9" and I just look very tall, so I wanted someone very tall, and I realized tall
Yeah.
people, I don't think they like me because I never met any tall people. I kept projecting I want tall people, and I'm like, Treasure, you just need to meet someone with a good heart. I just change it up, someone I can connect with, my family, just there's so many things that are more important than just the height. Meeting great people, but I had to have an open mind. And to me, the women are so stuck on the physicalness. Just get rid of a lot of the relationships they could have. They're so stuck on the physical. So you just got to be open minded. And to me, you have to be willing to go online too, even because you may never meet that gentleman in church. You may never meet that person on the job. So I think women should open up their eyes and just be willing to just open up and be ready for any opportunity.
Even if it's a phone call on drop mic.
Remember that, Max?
Yep.
I mean, not every. Let the spirit lead you.
There you go.
There we go. So, Denise, let's talk. What do you think? Would you say that you have a type? Right? You don't need to tell us your type. But would you say, because I don't want anybody calling, on Drop Mic because we're not a dating show, guys. Full disclosure. But so Denise, would you say that you have a type? And if so, wow, how do I even ask you this question? How would you describe, like, how someone goes about figuring out what their type is? You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm just hearing my family laughing in the other room while listening to this. Well, I would say I do have a type, but I think based on like past experiences thus far, my type is evolving, kind of like what Kia was saying and what Treasure was saying. It's you kind of realize like some things really aren't as important as maybe like society or our friends make them seem. Of course, sometimes, you want to look cute on the gram, but that's just the gram. Beyond the gram, what else? So, I guess as far as me, my type is evolving, and wait, what was the other part of the question? How do they pursue what?
How did you figure out that, this is your type?
Oh. How did I figure it out? I guess the old type was influenced, I guess, a lot by what I thought I wanted or what I think I need. The evolving type is more of just through now seeing what I don't want, and also through prayers as well, just being like, God, lead me, show me what is right for me, because and also I don't want these things to happen again that I experienced prior to. So, help me to avoid unnecessary flags, like just, oh, that's a flag, acknowledge it, and like, let's move on, let's keep going. And I think that's kind of how, for me, it's like evolving and changing.
Okay. Max, what do you think? So the ladies have talked about, we look for mothers and women. So would you say that your type fits in that category?
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
Would you say that your type fits in that category that the ladies have described? You know how they say we typically go for someone who reminds us of our mothers and things like that. What do you think?
That is definitely because, like I said, what you grew up seeing. So if your father's a
Mm-hmm.
pastor and he carries
Yeah.
himself a certain way, if your dad was a hustler, a street hustler, and he moved a certain kind of way, that definitely shapes what a typical woman will look for in a man. And same
Mm-hmm.
thing, we guys also want someone like their mothers as a
Yeah.
like partner as a wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but this type situation, all right, let's break it down real quick. I'm gonna try to, because I've had this discussion so many times with so many different women. So I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
try to fit it into a couple of minutes. Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, guys are physical, but we are more physical, still some mental, right? That's
Mm.
why I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I've seen guys wearing a shirt that says, "Show me a beautiful girl, and I'll show you a guy who's sitting inside of her."
Mm.
Right? Drop dead gorgeous, but the cat there, it's still gonna be a problem. So now let's switch it back
Mm-hmm.
to the ladies. Ladies do have types, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you see it all the time on Facebook, on the gram, and everything. They say, "I want a guy who's 6'2". I want a
Mm-hmm.
guy with washboard abs." Or some girls say, "I want a guy with a low stomach." Right?
Washboard
You
ass.
have the full thing in between. Some girls like the cuddly bears. You know what I'm saying? And all these different types. So women do have a physical picture in their mind of the
Mm-hmm.
things that they prefer. We all
Yeah.
know the beards, right? Ladies went
Mm.
crazy with the beards. They'll tell you, "Hey, guys, don't talk about my hair. My hair is my hair." But they're like, "No, my man's got to have a
You gotta
beard.
have
If he
beard.
doesn't have a beard, it's over," right? Yeah, no beard, right? So we know they have a type because they'll
Mm-hmm.
say it from time to time, right?
Yeah.
But now let's break it down further. Typically, women are the three P's: a
Mm.
priest, a provider, and a protector.
A
And
priest.
so, based on the father, and a priest could be, if someone's not spiritual, if they don't believe in God, you could substitute that for a leader, right? But it's still priest, provider, and protector. Now, based on the type of guy their father was, that's going to shape how they want that, right? Whether it's a hustler or a man about his career, man in the street, a tough guy, or just a teddy bear, right? So that shapes the type of idea of the man that they will end up looking for. And I always
Mm-hmm.
say there's another aspect to this, right? Oftentimes when it comes to women and what captures them, so don't forget,
Mm-hmm.
guys are more physical but still mental. Women are more mental but still physical. They have a little
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it that's physical. Now the other aspect of that is there's a small percentage of women, especially as they get older, there's more of them of that who say, "You know what? I don't care about what he looks like, all these things. I want God to help me find this guy." That's a smaller percentage, right? But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them, their idea of the guy they're looking for is based on a certain type of things they're looking for. So when you could look at the three P's: priest, provider, protector. And also, I always say this: there's three types of guys that tends to attract the ladies, right?
Mm.
There's the guy that has money and power. So he's either wealthy and powerful, or he has power on some level. For example, if you see someone who's a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
even if he doesn't have money, but he still has a power to draw
Yeah.
the attention of the women. You
Mm.
have attraction. Let me not use that finger. Attraction, right? That dude that's like real pretty boy, drop like real handsome, real pretty boys, automatic, right? They tend to get a lot. And the last thing is the smooth talker, right?
Mm.
The guy that's real comfortable, real smooth, quick with the tongue. And
Mm-hmm.
those three categories, when you think about the three P's, all these three categories,
Mm-hmm.
these are the aspects that tend to draw a lot more women's attention,
Mm.
especially as they're growing up until they get older.
Yeah.
But now, when they get older, they might say, "Okay, I've been through too many bad boys and this and that, and the guy with money, he's a bum, and I'm just gonna look for a good guy who loves me and who could
Yeah.
provide and take care of me."
Mm.
But still, and sometimes, because I've seen, we all know like the Biggie Smalls, Little Wayne, right? What's this guy, Flavor Flav, dudes that, listen, if you saw this guy in the street, you would run. But he's got money,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
they've got like 10 kids each, right? And he drove with.
That's
So
true.
all these things come into play when it's types.
Ladies, agree
And I
or
love to hear the
disagree.
ladies.
But with those men that mentioned, Max, like the
Hmm.
smooth talker, the power, the what was the other one? Smooth talker, the one money power. What
The
was the
three
other one?
P's?
No.
Oh, the
Yeah,
other
Powerful,
the smooth
version.
talker,
pretty boy. You
The
said
smooth
pretty
talk
pretty
boy.
is your
boy.
character, right? The pretty boy or money and power.
Man, stay away from them all because they bring you nothing but trouble.
Mm, mm.
Hold on, Kia. We can't hear you. Repeat that.
So what I was saying, I stay away from all those types of men. Do nothing but trouble.
Mm.
So,
Even the
and I think
pastor.
I like say it again.
No,
Even
even the past.
even the pastor.
Well, my
Oh
father's a pastor.
no.
Oh.
Amen.
Okay, so that's why I made a
Hmm.
vow to myself that I would not date or marry a pastor.
Mercy,
Oh,
mercy,
wow.
mercy.
Anywho, that's not a a jab at my father or anything. It's
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
I know what comes with all of that, and
Mm.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Mercy.
yes,
So
being a
Kia, you're
first
saying
lady is not.
you, so Kia, you're saying you definitely choose to stay away from the money power guy, the pretty boy, or the smooth talker.
Mm-hmm. Because they're bringing
Okay,
us some trouble.
interesting.
So for me, like with the relationship that I'm in now,
Hmm.
he's just very laid back. He doesn't have to
Mm.
have like crazy amounts of money. He
Hmm.
works. He works very, very hard to provide
Yeah.
for him, his family and everything. But
Hmm.
he's not trying to be out in the streets. He didn't try to run game on me. He was just very
Okay.
himself and just chill. How you doing? I want to get
Hmm.
to know you. So
Yeah.
just very casual with it. So
Mm.
yeah, no, not a pretty boy trying to cut all that. No.
Kia, that's my
So
type.
Sounds good.
Exactly what you just
you
said.
said that's
Just straight to the point. Not all the mess.
uh,
It's just straight. I want you to be extra pretty.
No
I don't need all
games.
that extra.
so
No
all the
game. Straight to the
gentlemen watching tonight, be direct.
yeah.
So
Yes.
Treasure, you said something
Yes.
earlier, right? You said women should be more open to online dating, right? So we know how complicated that field gets, right? Um, there's catfishing. There's a whole show about that, right? There's people who are on there, but then they secretly have another life somewhere else. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
how should one approach online dating in 2020?
It honestly did for me. Semi felt like a part-time job because you have to set up
Mm.
your profile. You
Mm-hmm.
have to tell yourself that I'm open, but all my hope is not in this.
Mm.
I'm really just praying to God he sends someone my way, but I'm not sitting there
Mm-hmm.
fighting and clawing through all of the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be open minded, put yourself out there, but don't
Mm-hmm.
sweat and make yourself go crazy because you
Yeah.
can kind of be on there as much as you can on social media and then get exhausted because all of your time and energy is invested in it. But I still
Mm.
think just job application, you should put your resume up there and just pray and leave it up there. But
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then carry on with your life, really. But at
Mm.
least it's up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For it to, I'm not saying women have to do it, but like I would do it again because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my the guy I was dating at the time, my husband now, he was in Tennessee. I was in
Mm-hmm.
Maryland.
Okay.
We would have never come across each other ever.
Mm.
So I do it again.
Mm. Interesting. Denise, what do you think about that?
Um, I think online dating is like become super popular,
Mm-hmm.
especially like it's in my age group.
Mm-hmm.
Have I done it?
Oh,
Yes.
you don't have to tell us. You don't
But
have to tell us, you know.
yeah, I was like, yeah. I made the profiles, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take it seriously. So I just like it was up and I deleted them and I was just like, okay, it's
Mm.
whatever. But I mean, I've heard like good things come from it. I mean, I've heard
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
people meet people and
Yeah.
it works out well. I've heard people meet creeps and it turns out bad. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a toss up sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might meet the right person or you might meet someone who can lead you to the right person. I don't know.
Mm.
God knows.
Mm.
But I
Mercy.
don't know if it's for everybody. I don't think it's for everybody, kind of like what Treasure's saying. Like, you don't want to become obsessed with it if that's what's going to happen. I mean, I know of people who have had to delete the dating apps because they were becoming like addicted to it too. So, and it was causing like other problems in their life. So I think it's just that balance and really discerning if it's for you at all. If it's not for
Yeah.
you, then you don't do it.
Wow. Wow. So Max, I don't know if you heard what I heard, but Denise just said sometimes you can meet somebody online and then their friend is your soulmate.
At least it's somebody
hard.
else. Wow.
That's hard.
Wow.
Lord Jesus. So
By the way, what month is this? August? Oh, never mind.
it's
Okay,
August.
never mind.
So
August, yeah.
let's talk about. I know earlier we talked about. We kind of briefly covered that, right? When we were talking about if the guy takes advice from his mom, then a lot of times, he's gonna say, "Well, my mom doesn't approve of this relationship, therefore, you're out," right? So, do you guys think your parents, right, not approving of your relationship is a valid enough reason for you to just, dump the guy or dump the lady? Because since our parents are supposed to be wiser, what do you ladies think? I'll start with you, Max, and then I want to hear from the ladies.
That's a tough one. Coming from a Caribbean background, being born in Haiti, where you have that family sense,
Yeah.
where especially back in the days, your parents are putting you together with that other family's daughter. You know what I'm saying? They're arranging everything. It's always gonna be part of you, right? Especially if you
Yeah.
have a person with a good family and you care about what your parents think and all these things. So you're gonna think about that. But as I think Kia said this earlier, but if you're as a man, or I don't know if it was Treasure or Kia, one of them, but if a man will see how his family views that young lady and he'll make a decision from there. He'll pray about it,
Yeah.
but he will go with his gut instinct. And if he wants people, he picks somebody that gets along with the family. But sometimes people are like, forget the family. I'm gonna go do my own thing. So I really don't care about what my mom thinks about it or what my parents thinks about it, and they'll just do their own thing. But if someone's family orientated, they'll
Yeah.
definitely try to find a match that works together.
Okay. Okay. So, ladies, what do y'all think about that?
I think it depends
I
on the
have
family it
to.
comes from.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, I think it depends on the family you come from.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm very close with my family
Mm-hmm.
and my parents. Um, as I'm getting older, like I'm starting to learn to make certain decisions by myself, but I
Yeah.
don't shy away from still asking, like, their opinion, their insight, because, I do trust and value their wisdom.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know if it's just how God just orchestrated the family structure, and that sometimes your parents can see things in other people and your friends or even people you may be dating that you yourself don't really see or recognize. And it can only sometimes be like afterwards, when that friendship or that relationship fails, that you reflect on back on what your mom or what your dad had said, and you're like, oh wow, like if only I had like heeded to that. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think it shouldn't be like mom and dad's opinion only. I think it should be something, depending on the family you come from, it can be within that equation. Like what, people who are closest to you, because at the end of the day, like they want what's you, and hopefully, and,
Yeah.
you know, taking that all into account, I think is beneficial.
Okay. Okay. So I'm glad you've mentioned that, hopefully they want what's best for you, right? Because especially in a family where you're the only child, right? So sometimes, or not even when you're the only child, I guess in a family where a single parent home, right? Let's put it this way. A lot of times the parents are very involved, right? The parent is very involved, and they may feel threatened by, you bring a significant other into the home, right? They feel like, well, this person about to take my son or my daughter away from me. So let me just, put myself in between. Like I saw this video on social media recently, right? And it was like this big deal where if the mom is sitting up front and the girl, who sits up front next to the guy?
In the front seat.
What if they both want to sit up front? So I mean, my answer to that was the woman drives, the mom sits up front, I sit in the back. Right?
Oh.
Now everybody gets their wishes, and then
Good one.
you keep moving.
Interesting.
So I don't know. What do you ladies think about that? Everybody. What do you guys think about
Who
that?
sits up front?
Are you specifically talking about this car situation?
Both. The previous question
Okay.
and the car situation.
Okay. I would say for the previous question, I think it's good to kind of get an understanding of where your parents are coming from. Because like Denise said, they may see something that you don't see.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be coming from, like you said, a parent may just be feeling like, oh my gosh, my son or my daughter may be leaving me. So it's just coming from their fear. If they're projecting their fear onto your relationship. So I think it's just good just to have open conversation, open dialogue as to why your parents may be feeling that way. And if you know that your significant other is very family oriented, then I would think you as the significant other would want to mend whatever, may be going on between the families, just to make sure that everybody's kind of on, on the same page. Now with the car situation, when I saw that, my first thought was, Mama, you need to go to the back. That was my first thought.
Really?
Really?
Because this is his wife, and I can see it both ways, and it's called leave and cleave. So you need to leave your behind from the front seat and go to the back and show respect.
Wow.
That's his wife. I'm sorry,
dear.
that was my initial thought, right? But then after reading through a lot of comments, I was like, again, depending on the relationships, they probably didn't really have a good relationship.
They
The
definitely
daughter-in-law
didn't like each other.
So because if they had a good relationship, she's like, all right, Mom, you just sit in the front and I'll just be in the back and we just go wherever. But I think this is a control thing between them. So I think that's why it went kind of left.
Yeah. What about you, Treasure?
Oh man, but I feel like what Denise and Kia said was exactly how I feel. I'm really close to my parents. I have like two sets of parents, both married, so everybody has an opinion and it could be overwhelming, but I would go to mom and dad and say, okay, why do you feel this way? Am I missing something? What's going on? And they would just straight up tell me, and I'm like, I really have to think about it. I really have to pray about this, and they would understand that. They say, it's up to you, but we feel this is not right for you or this is best for you. But I usually bring the person that I really love and care about home, and my parents respect my opinion because I don't bring everyone home. So we have that kind of relationship, and it's easier when you get along with the family. My goodness, it's just so much easier. And luckily, between me and my mother-in-law, we get along really well. She's in the back seat automatically. If her leg was messed up, she would obviously go to the front seat and stretch out. We have no issues, so I'm good. But all that fussing, it just seemed like it was probably during COVID time. People are stressed out. They don't have a good relationship. But between my husband and my mother-in-law, when I see that they need space, I'm like, hey, I'm going to stay home. I can have a date and chill out by yourself. So it just depends on the relationship between all people, how you want to handle it. But that just looked like a mess to me. And I was just like, nah.
Wait a second. So, Treasure, did you say that your mother-in-law automatically goes to the back every time? That's the structure? Oh, wow. Okay.
She's really sweet.
Okay.
So, do you make her go to the back, or does she go to the
Anything.
back?
She's like,
I'll be at the back, sweet.
Oh,
She's real sweet. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not judging. Max, what do you think?
I want to hear what Denise has to say.
Okay, go ahead, Denise. What do you think? Who sits up front?
I didn't watch the video, but it just sounds like a hot mess. I think because of how I was raised, my mindset right now would be like mother-in-law can sit up front.
Why?
I guess because I don't know, like I'm not married, so I'm not sure. So that's my mindset right now. I guess if I was married, I would assume I would sit up front, but then I wouldn't mind asking and be like, Mom, do you want to sit up here? And if she's like, no, I'm like, okay, then that's fine. But hopefully I'm praying for like a good relationship with my future mother-in-law, that there's no foolery like this. So yeah.
Big time foolery.
So, Max, what do you think?
So the answer that Ted came up with, right? Just let your wife drive, go in the back. So
Yeah.
for me, I've had a couple of different ways to look at this.
Hmm.
Um, so oftentimes, as especially as your parents get, the front seat could be more comfortable for them in their legs, right? So the main point is I hope to have a relationship when I get married where everybody knows that my wife is my wife, right? And my
Yeah.
mother's my mother. Because these are the two queens of my life and they both need equal respect. But you have the thing about when your parents get older, whether your dad or your mom, you might want to be or sometimes get them in the front seat so they're more comfortable getting in and out with their legs instead of
Yeah.
squeezing in the back.
Hmm.
But I think the perfect scenario really is when your lady's able to say, "Oh no, just she want to sit in the front, sit in the front," and or she's like, "No, you sit in the front." And they're like, "You, no, you go,
Then you
you."
you just leave both. You leave them. You
Exactly,
know.
exactly. But you would want a situation where
Hmm.
it doesn't get confrontational like that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how many of you guys used to deal with this, but especially with guys, when we were kids, dude used to love to call shotguns.
Shotgun.
And I
Yeah, I
always
remember.
hated that business. Like, yo, go just get in the bag, man. Forget the shotgun business. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so try not to have a situation where it has to fight or it has to come to a fight.
Hmm.
If it comes down to a fight between my mother and my wife, one in the front seat, then I know I failed because things
All right.
things shouldn't get to that position. But I think I like that idea of just having your wife drive and just go sit in the back. Just
Chilling, you know,
yeah,
unproblematic.
yeah,
There it is.
sounds good to me. Exactly.
So, well, thank you guys for all your opinions and experiences. So, we're going to take a quick break, right? I want to remind our audience, as always, when we come back from our break, you'll be able to call in and ask our panelists questions. Make sure you have good questions, right? Don't call and try to flirt with any of the ladies because, again, this is not a dating show. So I pray to God that our screeners do not let that slide again today. So don't go anywhere. Continue sharing this video, right? Ask your questions. We'll also be pulling questions on Facebook, from Facebook and YouTube, right? The comment sections, so we can ask our panelists. If you feel like asking your questions via comment, please do so. But if you want to call, you can do that as well. And the number will be on the screen when we come back. Once again, you're watching Drop Mic. Don't go anywhere.
In today's digital age, it's vital your business has what's called an online presence. If you don't, or what you do have isn't very good, it's going to be very difficult to grow your brand, increase profits, and be successful. And here's another problem. Creating a powerful online presence means mastering numerous types of online marketing techniques. Let's face it, you're an expert in your particular industry. But unless you have time, energy, and a lot of money to waste while you learn from your mistakes, becoming a master at creating an online presence is going to be difficult, if not impossible. And that's why you need online marketing experts like us. We have the expertise and experience you need to increase sales and profit significantly. That means having an outstanding, responsive website that's easy to navigate on all mobile devices and desktops, using feature-rich mobile apps across any platform, creating engaging marketing videos, social media marketing, and Facebook apps to interact in new, persuasive ways. We can do all of this for your business and even more, including search engine optimization, digital branding, pay-per-click marketing, web hosting, domain services, and all e-commerce related activities. Our expert team has years of experience, and our customer service is simply as good as it gets. The point being is this: when you work with us, we take care of handling all your digital marketing and do it at an affordable price. We build your online presence into something powerful that creates long-term sales and an affinity for your brand, leaving you to do what's most important: run your business and take care of your customers. If that sounds like an excellent idea, get in touch with us today.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. And now we will start pulling questions. So, again, I want to remind our audience that they can call in. The number will come up on the screen. So if you have a question for any of the panelists, please call in and ask your question. So, guys, someone asked on YouTube, can you have more than one type? What do you ladies think?
I think so.
I think,
Hmm.
yeah. I would say
Tell
I
me
agree.
more.
So I think, I think, um, hmm. You go ahead, Denise. You go ahead and explain that one. I'll think about
I
it.
think you can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like how I said earlier, like there are things that I think depending on the stage that you are in life, like I think your type changes. I don't know if you could have like two different types at the same time, but or multiple types at the same time, but I feel like maybe what I liked a year ago I don't like today, or you know what I mean? So I feel like I don't think there's like one type and you have to stick to it. I'm not that rigid. I think you may have like an evolution, like things just change over time. What was important to you 6 months ago isn't as important today. So I don't know if you could say you could have multiple types that you enjoy like at the same time, like Mary Jane, you know, Gabrielle Union. I don't know about that, but you probably probably you can have like an evolving type realistically, unless you just have the time like that to just be out here doing multiple stuff.
Right.
You know, most of us work.
I think
so,
that question. I think that question was talking about at once, though, at one time, not as you evolve. I think that person means at the same
Just
time.
one time.
Yeah, can you have multiple
Yeah.
types? Anyone else?
Maybe not then.
I mean, I'm trying to think of the different
know,
types that
that-
are out there. Because remember, Key, when you said about someone that's straightforward, calm, like I appreciate someone that's calm because I can get kind of hype. I've dated the calm type. I've dated the hyperactive type. I've dated the leadership type. I've dated the submissive type. Like, so I'm open to dating different versions of people if it means that if we can build a bond, we can build a bond and see. I know what my comfort level is, but I'm willing to date different types, different heights, different sizes, different races, different religions. I am open-minded person. It just depends on who you are. If you're open-minded, maybe you would be willing to experiment. But who has the time, like Denise says, if you have that kind of time emotionally to explore? But
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
What about you, Kia?
I have to agree with both ladies. Like if you're open, that's the thing. If you're open to um, learning and meeting different types of men, then you obviously are going to have different types.
Yeah.
But if you're just dead set on one, you're just going to stay looking for that particular person, however it may be. So I think you can be depending on your personality. So personality wise, yes,
Yeah.
women can have and men can have different types at one time.
Oh,
Nice.
different
Agree
types?
or disagree?
Personality? Well, I'm not a lady, as you
Oh,
can tell. So, in my opinion, from what I've seen, the women that I've counseled, talked to, all these different things, I
Yeah.
think women do have a type. So all the nice little answers we're get from the ladies, I think it's just a lot of PC. Women have a type, right? And so women, um, okay, so if they like the real, the high school jock, right? The real smooth, pretty boy, boom.
Yeah.
If Steve, right? Okay, Steve versus Steven, right? If Steve comes along and Steve's a good guy, they're
Yeah.
like, I ain't got time for you. I'm looking at Steven, right?
Are we talking
And
a
of course,
woman or a
this
child?
is, huh?
Are we talking about a woman or are we talking about a girl? Because that sounds like high school stuff.
I'm not told. So the type still translates to women. Now, what happens is that as women get, they tend to, if they're still single, they'll lower the standard type. So, for example, if they like a guy that's funny, if the guy's not funny, he won't get her anywhere with her. You know what I mean? If she likes a guy that's an intellect, if she likes a guy with a whole bunch of degrees, if she likes a guy that's very nurturing and very caring,
Yeah.
she will tend to look for that type. So women have types, but they're they'll be okay finding that type in different type of bodies, right? Even though they have a preference in the type of body and the money level, right? But they still want a certain type of man in their life. So I think this question is more geared towards women because guys, we have a type and we know our types. Now we could have a type B, like the second option, but
Type.
guys have more of a type. Women will look for what they like in a man, and I think like we said earlier, a lot of these things were kind of bred in them as their relationship with their father. If they had a bad relationship growing up with their father, they want the opposite. If they had a great relationship with their father, they look for something like that. So if daddy was always bringing them on their lap, having great conversation and making them laugh, they want the same thing in a guy. So yeah, women have a
Okay.
type.
So.
I can agree with that.
Oh yeah. So,
Go ahead, Denise. Say
someone
yes.
asked another question.
I feel
Um,
like it's fun.
someone said,
Yes.
well, someone asked, do y'all believe that the partner God created for you will come knock on your door? For instance, him or her will come looking for you.
No. No, tried it.
I don't
Didn't
know
work.
who lied to us.
Mercy,
Who
mercy.
lied? I feel
Preach,
like
preacher.
somebody lied about this, talking about some when you least expect it. Like, and I
They'll
think
walk
next
into
thing
your
you
life.
know, almost every time when you least expect it, you're like, "Oh God, is this it? Is this the one?" Like,
Yeah.
it's too much. I
Yeah.
think I don't know about the whole like just like a movie just knocking on your door and all that. I think it'll be natural. I think it'll be timely,
Yeah.
but as to when and how, I mean, I guess that's
No one
the
knows
part
the hour.
where God steps in
Yeah.
and he does his
Yeah.
thing. But I don't know if it's as magical or as mysterious as some people make it
Right.
seem, where it's like, the one he's just when you least expect it, just don't worry about it. And
Yeah.
somebody lied.
Some people it though. I think that's why it gets confusing. For some people, that's their story. Randomly I bumped into him. We had a conversation, and then it wasn't right away, but after getting to know him constantly, But I don't think that's the. It doesn't work like that for everybody. Some people have to physically put themselves in new and fresh environments to up their chances, like probability. It's not always a just bump into him kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, same
Can I ask you a
person.
question?
Oh yeah, go ahead, man.
Can I ask a quick question? Because I was going to ask the ladies about this earlier. And of course, Treasure's out of the running right now. But ladies, how do you feel about DMs and PMs and all these things?
I'm not out of the
I've
way.
seen them work.
I'm
I've
sorry?
honestly have seen people shooting their shot
Mm-hmm.
in the DMs and actually working. I just think,
Yeah.
distance doesn't necessarily have to do with it. It's just that, you shoot your shot, you converse over the phone, you meet
Mm-hmm.
up, and if that connection is there, it's just there.
Hmm.
Okay. So, let me move to the
I
next
want to say
question.
something.
Oh yeah, go
I just
ahead. Go
wanted to
ahead.
wanted to say that I heard a woman on her Instagram live say, if you're gonna approach a woman in the DMs, start off with an actual conversation, not one word hi, hello, hi
Yeah.
Exactly.
beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
what's up, what you doing? How about, hey, my name is this and this. You engage with her page way
WYD.
before you
That's not good, huh?
contact her.
No.
Hey, what you
Have a
doing?
have an engagement with her and then start to talk to her on there. But a formal conversation is best, straightforward and
Yeah.
formal.
Okay. Okay. So, a very good question from a friend of mine. It says, "What do you say to this? Men date what they want. Women date the potential they see." Whew. Wow. Ladies
That's
and
life.
gentlemen, what do y'all think?
Yeah, that's life, me.
Mercy. Ladies first. Is this true? Do you date for the potential or do you date for the now? I'll start with you, Treasure, since you guys are really slow to answer. So,
I'm
Treasure, what do you
really
think?
I'm really trying to think because I heard when you're young, people always say, "Oh, you're getting married when you're young. Great, you guys can build together. You guys aren't where you are right now. Maybe you're in
Yeah.
school finishing, but you guys have a plan. Like, okay, I'm going to finish this degree, and then we're going to move here, and we're communicating and talking and sharing our plans with each other. We both know we're not where we want to be, but we're not going to stop till we get there. And while we communicate, we're working towards a similar goal. But I got kind of like slightly defensive about it because I'm like, I'm not looking for a project per se. I'm looking for someone. I see who they are right now, and then I'm believing that we will go on a similar path together. We don't know for sure. Um,
True.
that's the best way I can answer. Um,
Um, Kia, what do you think?
I think that's a hard question to answer. I think
mhm,
I've seen it on both perspectives. And I think maybe it's the younger women who are probably more willing to date with the potential to improve versus as you get older, if your potential isn't there, you don't have, what's the point? You know,
Yeah.
you don't have really, literally, legitimately don't have time for that potential to grow. So I think as the younger you are, I think it's the easier to work with potential.
mhm.
Okay. So, Denise, speak for the young
Hmm.
ladies. What do you think?
Um, I've actually like thought before, like in a person, like, oh, he has potential. Um, and I've seen it as like as a positive because I mean, of course, I'm much younger. Like I don't see myself necessarily getting married anytime soon. So I know I'm not where I think I should be or could be in as far as being prepared to marry someone. So I think there's just there's some leeway that you can have, but it's depending on like, what are you doing in comparison to like what I'm doing, and
Okay.
could we actually like walk together in what we're both doing, though they're different things. So I guess in a way, I get maybe it is true. Maybe women do date I guess when you're younger. I don't know when you're older, it's different. But I guess at this age, there's not much to go on for based upon like where people are right now. So I guess so.
Max, what do you think from a
Yeah, I think
guy's
age is
perspective?
definitely a strong factor. I think when
Mm-hmm.
women are younger, they tend to
Yeah.
really potential, right?
Mm.
And as they get older, they refine through experience who they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for. And when they get to the point of their mid 30s and up,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes early 30s and up, they really get to the point of whatever it is they're looking for. So
Mm.
if it's a God first choice, then it's
Mm.
whatever that godly man is and wherever he is in life. But he's
Mm.
the godly man. He brings the three P's and whatever priest, protector, and
The
provider.
lady
He's
said stay
able
away from them.
to but that's that's the basis of what it is, and it's
Mm-hmm.
based on what they tend to want as well, right? So if they want that strong provider, somebody that has a six-figure income, that already has this, that, and the third, then
Yeah.
that's the basis where they're like, okay, what this I want and this is what I need. But some other people say, as long as he's a good man, he's doing something, he's not on the couch every day, he's about
Yeah.
his business, he knows where he's going in life, where then that is what makes them happy.
Okay. Okay. Um. Good answers, guys. Good answers. So, next question. Someone said, "So, what happens when your family rejects your type initially? Then, as the relationship develops, they start liking your type, and then you start realizing that he or she was no longer your type." Wow,
Mm.
that's a dilemma.
Dang.
What do y'all think?
It's like their mind's already made
I
up.
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you're saying in a relationship, and then you realize that they're no longer your type.
Yeah, that's the
Is this
question
because the
that
person changed or you
someone
changed?
asked. I don't know. I don't know.
That sounds like a midlife crisis. I mean, I've seen marriages where I've seen marriages where the people are older, and all of a sudden, the husband or the wife, they change their life altogether, right? So the person might have been in church, all of a sudden they don't want to go to church anymore. They
Mm.
take up a whole bunch of activities that they didn't do before,
Mm-hmm,
and the
mm-hmm.
marriage starts to break down.
Yeah.
But if you yourself, all of a sudden, the person you've been with, you're like, that's not my type
Mm.
anymore, that
Wrong with
definitely
you.
sounds like a midlife crisis.
Mm. Mercy.
Something wrong with you.
Anyone else want to add something before I move to the next question? No?
that's
Y'all
just
trying
kind
to
of
stay away
interesting.
from this question.
Kia?
Mm-mm.
Kia was going to say
So,
something.
No, I'm just saying it's just kind of weird how
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. Was it because the that to me is more dealing with the person because that could have been like a an issue within the family dynamics of all right, I'm going because I don't or the kind of rebellious attitude because you don't like my significant other, I'm going to continue to date them, and then when
yeah.
they start to finally get on board, then it's like oh they like them now. Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a mess situation.
That's a good point.
But someone asked again on YouTube. They said we were supposed to have an episode about that actually, but it got canceled. But I'm glad they brought it up. Now, how long is too long to date someone before marriage?
What's the
What do you?
plan? I mean,
Hmm.
I think it depends on what's going on. Like
Yeah.
some people, they're waiting on you to finish school. So money. I don't know. I know people who are like, I can't date someone any longer than a year. Like it needs to be like a year and then we have to
Mm.
get married. So I think it just
Wow.
depends on the age, what's going on, and what the plan is. That's a discussion you'll have to have and make sure that you're on the same page about it. Otherwise, you'll be miserable. Like, it's been 5 years. Where's my ring?
Mm.
But you never told them that you wanted the ring after 2 years. So,
I see. I see. Mm. Max, what do you think, Max?
I think it's up to the individual. I think in life, there's normal parameters,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for the average person, I think when you start getting to the point of 3 years, 4 years, because I
Mm-hmm.
think relationships have a natural progression, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go from acquaintance to associate to friends to close friend, engagement marriage. And if you go too slow or too fast, you mess up the relationship. But if the person, because I've seen people, and this is outside of the norm, where they love this person so much that I've seen them get married after 10 years and 20 years, and they're able to make it work. So you do have these out of the norm situations, but for most people, it tends to be a window of about, when you think about 3 years, a couple of years, it starts to get stale if it doesn't get to the next level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Treasure and Kia, what y'all think?
I think kind of along with what Max was saying, I think it's
Oh yeah.
dependent upon um, each for that couple,
Mm-hmm.
kind of what works for them. So as you were saying, some people get married after 10 months. So, some people get married after, 5 years. So kind of like combination of what Denise was saying as well, kind of
Yeah.
what you have going along within your life that'll kind of just lead you up to that point.
Treasure, what do you think?
I've noticed whenever you're younger, you tend to date for a longer time because maybe you're in high school, you're in college, you just want
That's
to
true.
finish your degree, your master's, and the plan is like, this is going to take us a lot of focus and a lot of hard work. We're going to live up, we're going to live together, and we're going to take this stuff out. And maybe people say we're going to do our student loans too, so we can afford that house. Like, I don't look at their plan and say I agree with it. I just say, hey, whatever working for you is working for you. But for me, I told my spouse, like, I have a certain time. I can't do 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
We kind of have to have this kind of serious conversations and get to. So it's just up to the individual, but it does start getting stale after 4 years when there's no direction. It's just aimless dating. It starts feeling uncomfortable and you feel cheated out of your life. So to me, it kind of feels like graduation. Like it should be a level up each year. You should have common a relationship. And if they're uncomfortable with reevaluating the relationship, I wouldn't be in it because we have to say, okay, where are we now? What can we do next year together? It should be like it's a partnership, and your marriage is gonna continue being that way in your dating relationship. So, what are we doing? What's the plan? What are we gonna achieve together? What kind of goals are we gonna do together? If you can't have those conversations while dating, marriage is gonna be really uncomfortable. So, yeah, if it happens in 3 years and you feel confident toward it and you can do it together, why not? So,
Okay. Okay. Very good points. Very good points. So, someone asked a question. They say opposites attract. Oh, serious. Serious. Next time I'm talking. Like they say opposites attract, right? Should your type be more like you or the opposite? What do you guys think?
I can't date myself.
Interesting.
I can't. I can't. Not me. Maybe, but it'd be too hard. I think balance is good. Balance is good.
Yeah.
You can have similarities, but just some balance is good.
Okay. Max, what do you think?
Denise hit the nail on the head. I think that's the wise answer.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's good to have similarities, similar things you want in life. Compatibility is a good thing.
Yeah.
Still want to find someone who complements you, right? Their strengths help your weaknesses, and yours help their strength, and together play off of each other. Because if you're too much alike, you imagine like two very active and very talkative and all the, you know what I'm saying? Who's gonna be able to get a word in, right? So it's good to have that compatibility where they're different from you in certain ways, and together you guys are a lot stronger and a lot better.
Really good. Really good. Anyone else want to add to that?
I feel like they did a really good job of answering that question.
Okay. Okay. So, oh, someone said something. Ed said something on Facebook. He said you should date yourself. How else will you be able to talk about what your needs and desires, etc., are?
I think I know what he's saying there. Spending some time with yourself, getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
You
That's
can ask
the
what you
proper
want.
word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not date yourself. Don't take yourself to the movies. Like have dinner for what?
Why not?
Wait, you
No,
can
it's
go
not
to the
that.
movies by yourself?
Yes.
Trust me, I learned to do that. No, I'm saying a date life. You have candles, making it a real romance. That's not what we're gonna do,
Yes.
right? It's good.
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned in my 30s is to be able to go
Mm-hmm.
to the movies by myself, go
Mm-hmm.
on vacation. But it's good to do these things. So that's how you
Yeah.
learn who you are. So I don't think the right word is date, but yes, Treasure was correct. Get to know yourself. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's times where you even need a break from relationships, where you take a break, you learn about yourself, and you start to realize and hone in on what is it that you're looking for, what
Mm-hmm.
is it that you need spiritually and on various levels. That's
Mhm.
important.
Really good. Really good. So, any of the ladies want to add something?
No, I think that's good. I think it's good to spend time by yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
you said, getting to know yourself, because if you always feel the need to constantly be in a relationship or be with someone, that can be telling of, something a little bit deeper
Mm-hmm.
than that. But yeah, getting to know what you like, what you don't. Because sometimes if you're always in a relationship, you kind of bend always towards what the other person likes to do. So you don't necessarily really get to know what are the things that I like that I actually want to do.
Mm.
Do I like going to museums? Do I not? So I think it's
Yeah.
good to get to know yourself.
Okay. That's a really good point. So, last question of the night, guys. If you were to help someone build a list, build a bear, build a boyfriend, build a girlfriend, right? If you were to help someone build a list, what are some of the things you would recommend they have on that list? I'll hear from everybody before we end.
Ladies,
Just one thing? Or
No, what
just
are some of the things you want to add
Oh,
on
okay.
that list?
I definitely they need to have a relationship with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they need to be tenacious about whatever it is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, again, not job, but they need to be making some form of money legally, some form of money
yeah,
um, that they're able to take care of themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and driven
Yeah.
and funny. So it can keep going, but go ahead. Someone
Okay.
else.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Oh, someone that loves themselves and
Mm. Mm.
really enjoys, like, to me, I feel like enjoying my solitude was important. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like even a little bit of quiet, even though it can be painful, just sitting with that. And that's when you have a time to really connect with God.
Yeah.
So connecting with God, enjoying your own company, having a community of people you can rely on. Because your spouse isn't always going to be with you in every situation all the time, and understanding what you're going through. So having like people there, wise counsel to be there for you. Community is important. I don't want to add too many other things on there, but anyone
Okay.
else wants to add?
Definitely the relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said about godly community. I think that's also very important. That he has mentors, or he or she has mentors in her life. People that can, that can pour into their life without you feeling like you have to also be their mentor or be that person to build them up all the time. And then someone who's fun and that you can just enjoy life with them. Like, I think that's also important too.
Yeah.
Can't live boring. Can't be boring.
Okay. Okay. And Max, what do you think, my brother?
I think like the lady said, number one is God, right? Because without God, you have nothing. It's
Yeah.
important to find someone that's godly, because once you learn the real definition of love, then you know how to treat people around you in a certain way, and you're gonna know and understand how to treat your significant other the
That's right.
correct way as well. And the second thing I'll say is, are they involved in church? And if you're not spiritual, are they involved in the community? Because that shows that the person is able to help others, not just selfish and all about
Mm-hmm.
themselves. So are they active in the community, the church, and things like that? Then from there, you just have to find things that match your values. But being a good person, giving back, being able to love themselves, that is important. Someone who's happy on their own first, and
Yeah.
it's not someone that my happiness and my who I am is based on you. So someone who's content with themselves, happy we were there, and someone that knows where they're going in life. These are some of the things of, you could add to that, like the lady said, but someone where they know. And for the ladies who say this, like, there's guys out there. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, sorry about that. So we know how it is with in life where there's a lot of women with high degrees and all these different things, and the guys that are not at the level. The main thing I'll tell you is find a guy who knows where he wants to go, who has a plan, and is working on that plan actively.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you guys. Thank you to my panelists, my amazing panelists, for all of your great answers, your opinions tonight, for your experiences. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. I want to thank our audience for tuning in night after night, or Friday after Friday. The show is ending. The show is ending. Oh, I don't know what they did to my camera. Oh, Lord Jesus. So the show is ending. And as you know, it's been a wild ride, right? We've had some great nights. We've had some very unexpected guests. But nonetheless, you guys kept coming back Friday after Friday, right? Making sure that, oh, I see myself now. All right, making sure that, you're sharing this video, you're commenting, you're calling, and everything, right? Last episode, we even gave away $100, y'all, right? $100. So, season 2, well, as you can see on the screen, there's another show that is coming with Pastor Shiloh and his wife, Lori, right? It'll be produced by the team at PDF Ministry and hosted on the Restored Ministry Facebook and YouTube pages. They're a very dynamic couple. If you've watched any of our services at Shekinah Haitian SDA, you know how loud Pastor Shiloh can get, He, like you said, this guy, I don't know where he gets all that energy from, but he can preach every single day of the week and still be loud. So make sure you tune in, right? Follow the page on Facebook, follow it on Instagram, follow it on YouTube. They start next week, right? Because we're ending. Oh, I got a mic. So we're ending this week and they start next week. The show's name is Racine L'amour, as you can see on the screen. And we'll play the trailer for you in a little bit. But once again, thank you to all of our previous panelists. Thank you to our guests tonight. Thank you to all of you guys who tuned in, who asked questions. My name is Ted. On behalf of all the DroppedMic team, we're out. We dropped the mic. You see that? All right, y'all. Peace.